One of the caretakers comes in, tidies up and turns off the television and says, "That's enough for one day, Mr. Finnegan. Now let's have you sit up, shall we? It's time for your medicine." Mr. Finnegan, an old, balding, yet bulky kind of man, one where you wouldn't dare raise a finger to, despite his age, was tired of taking the extra doses of medicine each morning. The caretaker reassures that it was for his own good. After being pressured to take his medication, a sudden knock on the door is heard. "Look who's come to visit you today." It was none other than the people that he loved the most, his family, barging in with cheers and hugs, especially young little Timothy, yelling out "Grandpa" at the top of his lungs. This was a very most welcoming surprise. This old man, or in the eyes of young Timothy here, was the best grandpa in the world. He arrives at the retirement center accompanied by his mother and father, for it was his grandpa's birthday, and they brought along a delectable cake with them, topped off by 2 lit candles spelling out the numbers 72, singing "Happy Birthday" in unison. Happy birthday! After Grandpa's birthday jingle, his mother and father stayed to comfort him. During all of this, Timothy's curiosity trails him out of the room. The hollering of more cheers catches his attention down the hall. Out of the blue, something within the room sends mother and father into a screeching cry as Timothy hastily turns around. However, before Timothy could scuttle his way back into Grandpa's room, Grandpa Finnegan himself quietly steps out into the hallway and places a finger to his lips, gently closing the door behind him. "Your mother and father are having a rough time right now. How about we just let them be for a bit, shall we? There's no reason you need to see all of that. I've got an idea. Have you ever heard bingo, Timmy boy? Pops will show you how to play." Grandpa gleefully smiled. He gently held his hand and led this curious child out into the main room. A partial cafeteria sits in the back, and dozens of tables dressed the room, where a stage with a fascinating rotating cage of plastic white balls caught Timothy's eyes. "G51! Do we have a G51?" said the announcer, twirling the microphone in his hand as his eyes prowled the audience for any callers. Suddenly, an older lady marks her paper sheet with a pencil with excitement, raising her voice. "Bingo! There we have it, folks, a winner in our midst." And as the announcer glances over to young Timothy, standing in awe and thumbs fiddling, he calls out to the boy, "Who do we have here? A bright-eyed visitor come to play?" Timothy's eyes lit up as he grabbed a sheet and a pencil, and seeing that Grandpa saved a seat just for him to join in. And the room's lights began to flicker again. It's been happening a lot lately. Lights turning on and off. Things moving on their own. Cold wisps when there aren't any open windows to be seen. You name it. Retirement homes do see a lot of death, but a sense of peace does hang in the air at times, and other times it just feels uneasy. the announcer recoups his composure. All right, if those pesky ghosts could allow us some time to have fun, that would be great, he said nervously. So to play bingo, Timmy boy, that young man up there will roll that cage filled with balls, and on those balls will be letters and numbers. If he calls out, B15, do we have a B15? Just like that. Then you mark that off on your sheet and, oh, by the looks of it, you already got your first one. Great job, Timmy boy. Get 5 straight marks and you can call out bingo. Is that how I win, Grandpa? That's right, Timmy boy. And so, 5 minutes passed by, then 10. Then before Timothy knew it, a half hour had passed and he was just 1 number away from winning his first game at bingo. His face was filled with happiness, to the point where he forgot why Mommy and Daddy were sad to begin with. But Grandpa Finnegan was keeping him close company. It's as if everything was hunky-dory until all the lights of the retirement home abruptly shut off. Coldness suddenly fills the room, almost as if dozens of eyes were watching them. Overall, everyone was quiet and composed. The announcer assures everyone to not be alarmed through the technical difficulties, despite the stammering behind his voice. Timothy looks up at Grandpa Finnegan as he puts his hand on his head. There's a lot of restless spirits here, son. But if we just keep smiling, everything will be just fine, he said. Even Timothy can make out his grandfather's smile through the slight darkness. How can you tell they're restless, Grandpa? Said Timothy. Grandpa responded, because I can see them, clear as day. Timothy was sent chills down his spine, but Grandpa's own warm smile felt like a bubble of protection, keeping him safe from harm. Then suddenly the lights went back on. The announcer returns to relay what was going on. Nothing to worry about, folks. Our staff managed to get the backup generator going. A chill rose to the room like a blanketed fog, as the announcer quickly continues as normal, rolling the lever to the cage of balls, and pauses every now and again to call out the numbers in his hand, before rinsing and repeating. Timothy marks off each next winning number. Time passes by until, miraculously, Timothy scores a full row and jumps out of his seat screaming with glee. Bingo! Bingo! Look, Grandpa, I've got a bingo! The smile on his and Grandpa's faces were priceless, but not for long. Out from the distance, Timothy could hear his parents in the background, their loud cries echoing through the hall. Grandpa Finnegan places a firm but comforting grip on Timothy's back and says, It's almost time for me to go now, Timothy boy. But thank you for spending time with me. This was the best birthday gift I could ever ask for. Let's play again next time, Grandpa, Timothy responds, turning around to look at him, but he was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly he spots his family coming out into the hallway with tears rolling down their faces. He runs towards them as his father opens his arm to hold him close, asking as to who Timothy was with the entire time. I was with Grandpa Finnegan. We played bingo and I won! With utter sadness, they told him, Grandpa Finnegan is still in his room, son. We were there with him the whole time. He passed away not too long ago. With that said, Timothy was frozen, the winning bingo sheet slipping from his fingertips. Nothing came out of his mouth but the cold wisp of air hanging over him, as if he could still feel Grandpa's cold, gentle hand on his shoulder.